Hi, this is Bob Hatton from Germany. I'm so glad that you've tuned in again to have to receive some more encouraging words. Today we're going through Holy Week, and we on Monday we heard about Jesus triumphantly entering Jerusalem. Then on Monday he cleansed the temple of the money changers and the people who were selling the animals. He continued to move into Jerusalem, and in the evenings he went out. He went to stay with his friends in Bethany. He didn't try to consolidate the ground that he'd won on Monday with all the people behind him, but he continued to do that what he'd always done. He used to teach and speak to people. On Tuesday, there's an episode in the Bible where he's asked so many different questions from so many different people with different backgrounds who are nearly all trying to trick him. But he always had a word of wisdom to answer them and to give them a good answer. Now we move through the week, and now we're on to Thursday. And Thursday evening, Jesus met together with his disciples because he wanted to celebrate, or to start to celebrate, the Last Supper, or the Feast of the Passover. And Jesus inaugurated then the Last Supper. The Jewish people, they would celebrate the Passover, remembering how Moses brought them out of slavery in Egypt. But besides having something about the past, it also had something about the future, and that is that God was going to do something in the future. God was going to send a Messiah who would be somebody very special, who would do something very significant. And this was Jesus. And so Jesus, he inaugurated what we call the Last Supper, communion, or whatever you would like to call it. And he took bread and he broke the bread after he'd given thanks. And he said, "This is my body that is broken for you." He took a glass of wine and he said, "This is my blood that is shed for you. This is the new covenant in my blood." And then after they'd celebrated the communion, they left Jerusalem and they went outside. They went to a place where they often went to pray, in the Garden of Gethsemane. It was kind of a secret place. It was very, very lonely, but Jesus went there with his friends. But his heart was very heavy, because as he'd been thinking about the Passover and all the symbols in that, it was all showing the way that he was going to go, a way of suffering. And when he got to the Gethsemane, his heart was so heavy, and he started to pray, and he asked God, if it is possible, let this cup pass me by. The cup, that was the cup of the anger and the wrath of God that he was going to suffer on the next day. He had a premonition, this is what it's about, and his heart was so heavy. In one of the Gospels it actually said that he began to sweat blood. He was under so much stress. His disciples, they weren't any help. They went to sleep, but they were also arguing about who is the greatest among us. And then what Jesus was waiting for happened. The police came, the temple police, with the high priest and some other officials led by Judas Iscariot, who had been a friend of Jesus, and now he'd come to betray him. And Jesus asked them, "Who are you looking for?" And they said, "We're looking for Jesus of Nazareth." And he said, I am the one. Now there's a kind of an incident happens, which is mentioned immediately after this. Peter takes out his sword and he hits one of the servants and actually cuts off his ear, but Jesus heals him. But then something else is explained, and that is after Jesus said, "I am he." Who are you looking for? Jesus of Nazareth. I am he. It says that the people, they shrunk back and they fell to the floor. Jesus revealed himself in that moment in his glory with all his power. It was just for maybe a split second. And in my years of being a Christian, I've experienced that a number of times. Yesterday, I told you about what happened when I committed my life to Jesus. I became a Christian when I was 17. That was in 1970, when I was a soldier. Now, I was a Christian, but I was also a soldier. And my comrades, they were also soldiers. And soldiers are not known to be very tender and having big feelings. And so they would come and tease me. They would try to make fun of my newfound faith and so on. And so I remember it's about a week after I committed my life to Jesus. I was sitting in my bed. I just bought a Bible on that day, and the guys came in. They'd been drinking. They were very happy and so on, as you can imagine. They sat on my bed, 3 on one side, 3 on the other side, and they began to tease me, and they began to boast about the frivolous life and the prosperity. And as they were doing so, one of the guys saw my Bible. And he took the Bible, and then he, mockingly, he just said, "Look to heaven." He says, "Jesus, speak to us." Now, this was a new Bible. If you've ever had a new Bible, it never opens where you want it to open. The pages are stuck together. But this guy, he opened the Bible, then he took his finger, he circled, and then put it onto a Bible text and began to read. And it was in 1 Corinthians chapter 6. I'd never read that. I'd never read the Bible before. But it's in 1 Corinthians chapter 6. And he said, "Do you not know that the unrighteous will not inherit the kingdom of heaven?" And then there's a list of people who are classed as being unrighteous. And these were the things these people were described as they just described their lives, their frivolous lives, and all the things that they've been boasting about doing. This was all mentioned there. And I can remember this guy. He's very gently closed my Bible, put it back onto my cupboard, and the guys stood up and withdrew and were quiet for the rest of the night. I don't think I could go to sleep that night. I was so excited, so amazed that God comes and speaks into such a situation, revealing His power, just telling me, I'm with you, so don't be afraid. And this is something that God does all the time. Now, tomorrow, I hope that you'll be there, because tomorrow is Good Friday. And tomorrow I'm going to be speaking about the Friday for the future, the most important day that ever happened in history. So don't miss it. I'll see you there. Until then, I hope you have a good day. Bob Hatton from Germany.